Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, that followeth, that followeth, that followeth. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, and death, and mourning, and she shall be utterly burned, fire, by strong, saith Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, 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 Yahushua.
I'm the daughter of Lucinda Ellis and John Wesley Ford of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. 2 weeks ago, I celebrated my 107th birthday. I'm here seeking justice, and I'm asking my country to acknowledge what happened in Tulsa in 1921. I was told we had to leave, and that was it. I will never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see black men being shot, black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot. When my family was forced to leave Tulsa, I lost my chance of an education. I never finished school past the 4th grade. But most of my life, I was a domestic worker serving white families. I never made much money, but to this day, I can barely afford my everyday needs. I'm asking that my country acknowledge what has been happened to me. I'm asking that my country acknowledge what has been happened to me, the traumas and the pain, the loss, and I ask survivors and descendants to be given the chance to seek justice, open the door. Our lives, Greenwood represented all the best of what was possible for black people in America and for all the people.
Thank you very much. We appreciate very much your testimony.
In the 1970s and the beginning of World War I, black pioneers settled more than 100 all-black towns in the West, each with the goal of economic independence. Was a black district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, known by its residents as Greenwood.
One thing that would probably strike us is the absolute variety of businesses. The numbers are astonishing. 30 restaurants, 45 groceries and meat markets. There were dry goods stores, milliners, photography studio, dental offices. Greenwood is no longer called Greenwood. It's now known as Black Wall Street.
1919, black soldiers returned from World War I with high expectations for racial progress at home. But in one city after another, white mobs erupted in violence, targeting black veterans, citizens.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Bahashem, Rucha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Also sincere shalom to you other elders, Achim, brethren, and you few sisters. Let me say shalom and peace to the elect. I want to go in this video here, which I'm not going to say very much on, okay, because of the two policies, but in defense of the doctrine, we'll link it with the scriptures. This 107-year-old elderly lady, okay, who spoke her story on Tulsa, Oklahoma. They even had to write down, she only had a 4th grade education. And we can see that what has happened, transpired at that time, has become a nightmare for her even throughout her life. This also shows that when you have these situations happen, such as of these events, let me just say that hundreds of years later, and this woman's only experienced it 100 years later, but you can imagine 100, 200, 300 years before that, and now you can see why the condition that our people in. And I also say that the fight to destroy a so-called black economic community, how much energy was put into that, they didn't have a chance. They flew planes and bombs, which that was all set up as well, by the way, because it was bigger than them people who did it. It was bankers all of a sudden having an issue, and we know who those bankers or 48ers are, had an issue with Jake, getting a hit. Remember, these other people, let me say that, were always used as a tool to come against Jake. And that's why they all going to get what they get. But what they don't understand is this is all a curse from the Lord. And this lady that's 107 years old is still pleading for justice. She's probably on her way out, and she's pleading for justice still, even after what's happening. Now, there's not so much fight in the correcting a so-called black community as it is in destroying one, okay? But this is what we see, okay? So, it's interesting because they even had a military. And if your military is not strong, you're not going to stand. So they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance. They were just going to fight to the death, but they didn't have a chance. But we'll go into scriptures and prove why this scenario and why we're in this predicament that we're in. Now you have other guys in different various parts of the black community who's coming out with doctrines saying the slave ships didn't exist. Most of the things that was in slavery was set up and fake. Give it time, they'll say this was fake too. But we know who funds them into saying that. To keep you asleep. Because then what happens if you take away the oppression of what happened to us, then you take away the power or the tool that we use to bring out the truth according to the scriptures. Okay? Deuteronomy 28 and let's go 16. Let me go to 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right? So through process of elimination, we know who fit these curses. Okay? Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. So you had these army soldiers who went to war for the country, as this lady said, her country. Well, it's not yours now. It may have been at one time, but it isn't now. Okay? And they came back to fight just to get destroyed. Now they did all that fighting and came back and get destroyed. Then what will happen is the legislators and the court districts and the judicial system, they all step up. Okay, they all step up and say this is inhumane, this was right, we need to present some order. After they tore it all down, why didn't they use the insurance? Why didn't they use the money to help them rebuild Tulsa again? So we could see a bigger scheme in that. But they wasn't going to do that, because you were never meant to make it here. Why do you think you... Okay? It says, cursed shall be in the basket store. Cursed shalt thou be in the fruit of the body, and the fruit of the land, and the increase of the kind, and the flocks of the sheep. Okay? And, a lot of us don't own any farming. We might get a little piece here or there. Okay? Cursed shall be when thou comest in, and cursed shall be when thou goest out. Right? You know, and some of these curses apply through generations, even some back to 70 AD. Okay? The Lord shall send upon thee curse and vexation and rebuke, and all thou settest thine hand unto do for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly. And we seen this happen quick. Okay? Because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. And I guarantee you that most of those jakes that was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, building their great businesses and doing the great service for their own so-called community, was not worshiping the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah, man. They wasn't worshiping the spirit, our power. Guarantee it. They was even building churches. I wonder what they was worshiping in those churches. Okay? They probably had Caesar Borgias up in there. And we can see that. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. Right? So you can't get around that. That's why it proves that we fit the curses. Jeremiah 6:14. They have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly. Right? So we got out of slavery. They allowed us, to follow, the so-called Constitution, so-called, although we was considered 3/5 man, we was allowed to do certain things, but ultimately, we were still slaves. Okay. Now you might say it's just about skin color. No, it's about a nationality, and they knew who we were. They still know to this day. The other people who did all that dirty work, they don't know very much. They're not the most intelligent anyway. But those bankers and the elites, the rulers, they know. And they have the history, they have the records. Trust me, they know. This is why it's not much, havoc coming down on the other so-called nations. Okay? It's mainly about us and natives. All those people people say the 12 tribe charter is all messed up and wrong. Well, that's an identifier. We can list everybody on that chart and say what it is. Okay? We can tell you what it is of everybody on that chart. Now we seen this man do the same thing with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They drop atom bombs on them, So that was a catastrophe. But what did they do? They built that back up. They tore that down and built it back up. With us, nah. When have we been built back up? Now you look at the repercussions of today, of what happened. And this woman here, who should be speaking for all so-called independent women, and see, right, how we are. And at that time, when you showed a bunch of men sitting there, so-called black men in our so-called strength, being able to run businesses and run the show. So we got a glimpse of a form of paradise in Babylon. But now you look at the rest of the counterparts, let me say that, and I'll try to keep it clean, or tube policy, so to speak. They're comfortable in their condition and how they work and live and survive. Not looking for the leaders of them to be leaders. And that's why us in the truth, we're the leaders of the new kingdom coming to play. This place was not meant to be to flourish with us anyway. We'll wait. Okay? And we can see the downfall. Now we all know that people say everything go around, come around, right? This is what everybody says. It goes around and come around. You do wrong to people, it's going to be done back to you. Everybody says that. But somehow when this man does what he does, nothing's supposed to come back around to him. Anyway, Habakkuk 2 verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, whom enlargeth his desire is hell, and is death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Okay? You don't know who that is, then there's a problem. You know, I mean, we don't have to, that's not a secret. Okay, that's not a secret. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. When you look back at the history, you give it time, Jake will try to erase that. Well, they will put the ideology, or let me say the philosophy out there for Jake to say it never existed. It was all fake. Give it time. That's all Jake would say. It's all fake. It ain't real. Slave ships ain't real. I mean, we hear all this now, man. It's like, what the heck is going on? When they kept the records of it. First of all, anybody who conquers nations keeps records of that. See, they understand that if you're bound to, if you forget history, you're bound to repeat it. This is why they keep it, because they feel they don't want to. They want to keep it going, right? They want to remember. We're in the day called what? Memorial Day, which means to what? Remember. See, they'll remember the history, but they don't want you to. So they'll put it on you and say it's all fake. We were great kings and queens, and we ruled everything. So what the hell happened?